In tonight's season finale, Nick Tupper tries to turn last week's $500 winnings into a cool grand. Will he beat his opponents? Let's find out. Welcome to the season finale of PropQuiz. I'm your host, Ethan Berg, and tonight is our 10th and final episode of our first season. Since we started in July, we've had 22 contestants on and awarded $6,300 in cash prizes to our winners and our runners-up. This evening, we of course have last week's winner, Nick Von Tupper, back to try and win a second game in a row. He won the game with 150 points, beating his dad's score of 115 from earlier in the season. Now he's going up against two more pilots who have it out for him. Natalie Kelley is the founder of Fly Girl, an aviation-themed organization that provides young women with scholarships, support networks, and more. Will she give FOD a run for his money, or will his key component turn out to be Cameron Collette? Cameron is an avid flyer and an active member of Civil Air Patrol's Tuscaloosa Composite Squadron. He's currently building an airplane with his daughter Hannah, who's in flight training herself. With three great pilots, it's really anybody's game, so let's not delay it any further. It's time to kick off round one. Here we go. You are on flight following, heading toward a Class B airspace. What must you hear on the radio before entering it? Cameron.
Cleared to Class Bravo.
Cleared into the Class Bravo is the correct answer. You are first on the board tonight with 10 points. Welcome to PropQuiz, Cameron. It's good to have you on with us. This is your first time with us here tonight. How did we trick you into doing this? You've been watching the show all the way throughout the season. We didn't scare you off?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's kind of fun.
Well, that's good. I know your family's watching tonight, and I know they're rooting for you. Actually, I think one of them just texted me a few minutes ago, but welcome. Now, you've been flying for a long time, but you only got your actual pilot certificate a few years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I was one of those people that started off and had a really good deal. About 20 years ago, cutting grass around a hangar and learned how to fly on a Champ. As long as I kept the grass cut, he taught me how to fly on the Champ, and then, life happened. So there was a 20-year break in there. Back into it 3-4 years ago.
I understand, but it's fantastic that you're in it now. What kind of plane are you building with your daughter?
Fisher Tiger Moth.
Fisher Tiger Moth. Very neat. That's fantastic. Well, Cameron, we're going to move on to our next question now. Aircraft may trail a spinning vortex of air from each wingtip, causing wake turbulence. What is the plural of the word vortex?
Oh my gosh. Vortices?
It is vortices. You now have 10 points as well. Good evening, Natalie.
Woo-hoo!
You created Fly Girl. You're a pilot. You've been a pilot for a few years yourself. Why'd you create Fly Girl? And tell us a little bit about what it does.
Well, Fly Girl is all about trying to get more women involved in aviation. So I started the Fly Girl product so that women can wear the shirts and show off their gear and let people know that they're pilots and they love aviation. And then the proceeds for the sales goes to funding flight training scholarships for women.
That's fantastic. So you're doing that to help get other women into aviation, but what got you into it?
Well, my dad was a pilot, professional pilot, and then I had an uncle that was also a pilot and big in the warbird air show community. And I just loved that and I always wanted to do it, but I waited a long time. I just started flying about 4 years ago, so I'm a fairly new pilot too.
Well, hopefully it was worth the wait, Natalie. Let's continue on with our next question. Name a secondary flight control found on both a Cessna 172 and a Piper Warrior. Nick.
Flaps.
Flaps. Flaps is an absolutely correct or acceptable answer, I should say, in this case. And I've used my one use of the word absolutely. But Von Tupper, you are back again tonight. You had 150 points in last week's game. Now you've seen your competition a little bit so far already in round one. How are you feeling tonight? Are you confident?
Feeling pretty good, but I have a huge amount of respect for both the other pilots that are on tonight. So I will be happy no matter how this game turns out.
Fantastic. Alrighty, well, let's keep going. This pilot was the highest scoring American of World War I. He later became the president of Eastern Airlines. What was his name? Cameron.
Eddie Rickenbacker.
Eddie Rickenbacker is correct. You're now up to 20 points and in the lead, breaking the three-way tie we had on the board so far. You're inbound to an airport with crossing runways and receive a LASSO clearance. What does LASSO stand for? Natalie.
Yay! Land and hold short.
Can you a little bit further?
Oh, land and hold short. What does the O stand for? Land and hold short.
I'll give you another couple
I
seconds.
don't know what the O stands for.
I'm sorry, Natalie, but I can't give it to
okay.
you with just that. Let's try Cameron. He buzzed in next. Cameron, what do you think it is?
Oh man, I was going to say what she said. Land and hold short of the runway. I don't, land and hold short is what I was going.
Not what we're looking for. FOD, do you want to buzz in and try it?
I was gonna say land and hold short of, and then they list a runway. That would be my guess.
No, I'm afraid not. It is land and hold short operations. Operations is what that O stands for. Land and hold short operations. Nobody got that one. Everybody was really close. It was just that last word that tripped you guys up. In which atmospheric layer does most weather occur? Nick.
Troposphere.
It is the troposphere. You're now tied with Cameron for 20 points. We are pretty close still in this game, though, so far, closer than we were last week. Everybody's within just a few points of each other. This famous pilot was the first to fly the X-15 and the first to fly twice the speed of sound. Who was he? Cameron.
Scott Crossfield.
Scott Crossfield is right. You're now up to 30 points. You guys are staying, I don't want to say neck and neck, but you're staying very close to each other here. I think this may turn out to be a close game if our early signs are any indication. Here's our next question. In aerial combat, what must a pilot do to earn the distinction of being an ace? FOD.
5 aerial kills.
5 aerial confirmed kills is correct. You're again tied with Cameron. This seems to be a trend so far this evening. Let's see who's the first to break it. Well, hey, Natalie, you've got your 10 points too, though. You're not far behind them at all.
I need a faster thumb.
Yeah, well, that speed is the name of the game here. This is the tail section of the Gold Seal DC-3. What is the proper term for this part of an airplane? FOD.
The empennage.
It is the empennage. You're now up to 40. There you are, breaking that trend so far. You are now ahead of Cameron instead of just keeping up with him. Let's keep going here. We're punching through these pretty quick. You call the Class D tower 10 miles out in your Cessna 182. The controller replies, Cessna 42742, stand by. May you enter the airspace? FOD.
Yes, you may. It's a Class Delta airspace, so as long as you establish two-way radio communication, you're allowed to go into the airspace.
Yes, you may enter the airspace. He said your call sign. You've got that two-way communication. You are good to go, even though he said stand by. Basically, just call him back again later as you get closer. And Nick, you are now up to 50 points looking at our scoreboard. Cameron's behind him with 30, and Natalie is at 10. We've got a 20-point differential between each of our contestants, and we only have a few questions left in this round. This is a pretty quick season finale so far. What wins are reported based on this station symbol? FOD.
The winds are coming from a heading of 270, and they are at 15 knots. The long stick is 10 knots. The short stick is 5 knots.
Well, the long, you're not far off, but not quite there. Let's try Cameron.
I was going with winds aloft.
Nope. Natalie.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I know it's 15. It's the surface wind at 15 knots. The direction, I don't remember what the picture was. I don't see it now, but if
Ever
it
put that
wasn't
picture back up?
270, okay. Yeah. So then it would be from 090.
There you
Is
go.
that correct?
090 at 15 knots.
Yay!
FOD, you were absolutely right in your description there with the 10 and the 5 knot markers there, but it's from 090 like Natalie said. So, Natalie, there you are now up to 15 points.
Yay!
In what flight condition must an airplane be placed in order to spin? FOD.
The airplane must be stalled in order to spin.
Must be stalled. You are correct. You're now up to 60 points. We've only got just a couple questions, just 1 or 2 left in this round. And Nick, you are ahead again so far, sir. Here we go. This is Dwight Airport, just south of Chicago. You're thinking about landing there, but do they sell fuel? Natalie.
No.
Not the correct answer.
I couldn't remember the picture.
Yes.
A little bit of a giveaway here. Yes, they do indeed sell fuel, but Cameron, can you tell me why? How do you know that they sell fuel based on that image?
It has the I'll call them tick marks. Looks like a plus sign over the airport symbol.
4 tabs over the airport symbol.
Tabs.
That is correct. That's how you know they sell fuel. We got 2 questions left now. Let's punch through them pretty quick here. In 2010, what was the name of the FAA's Private Pilot Certification Standards document? What was it called? Nick.
The Practical Test Standards. Still that way for
Practical Test Standards is the correct answer, or PTS. It's since been replaced with the ACS, or Airman Certification Standards. Here we go into our last question of round 1. This dramatic picture shows a cloud type frequently associated with wind and turbulence. What kind of cloud is it? I think that was supposed to say frequently. Nick.
Shot in the dark. Wind and turbulence makes me think cumulus.
No, not what we're looking for. Cameron.
Lenticular.
Lenticular. You know the answer better than I know how to read the question. Great job, Cameron. Well, 15 questions down and only 15 questions down and only 15 left to go in this season. Nick is in the lead with 7 points. We're going to be back with round 2 shortly. Multiple choice. Stay with us.
For many pilots, airspaces remain a confusing concept. These are 3D volumes of air that you have to interpret by looking at a flat sectional chart. It can be a real challenge. You need to master them, and the FAA definitely puts heavy emphasis on them for the written test. But no worries, Gold Seal makes airspaces easy to understand using stunning 3-dimensional graphics. And these are the exact ones that you'll see on your knowledge test. You don't have to imagine them. Gold Seal shows them to you in awesome real-world perspective. Gold Seal is the premier online ground school. We've been doing it longer than anyone else. Come see for yourself with a free test drive at groundschool.com.
Welcome back to Prop Quiz. Before the break, Nick took the lead again, finishing round 1 with 70 points. Cameron's behind him with 40 points, and Natalie is on the board with 15. Speaking of 15, we only have 15 questions left to go this season. Remember, you can play along from home with these questions by going to www.onlinegroundschool.com/propquiz. So, everyone, let's keep it going with round 2 and multiple choice. Who was the first woman to orbit the Earth? A. Jolie Lucas, B. Valentina Tereshkova, C. Catherine Janeway, or D. Sally Ride? righty. Who was the first woman to orbit the Earth? We're going to start our reveal in round 2 with Natalie. Natalie, you said D, Sally Ride. No, it is not.
I knew,
it is not. Sorry, Natalie. FOD, you said D,
That's
Sally
okay.
Ride is why.
Right after I said that, I
you
knew.
shaking your head. No. Cameron, are you going to save us? You are. You said B, Valentina Tereshkova. That is the correct answer. You've got the first 5 points of round 2. Great job. Let's keep it going. In the Northern Hemisphere, the jet stream's general movement is A, east to west, B, anticyclonic, C, west to east, or D, cyclonic. Let's start with FOD this time. Nick, you said C, west to east. You are correct, and there's 10 points. You are now up to 80 so far. Next, we're going to take a look at Cameron, who said D. Nope, not cyclonic. Not cyclonic, sorry. And then Natalie, you said C, west to east. You are also correct. There you go, 5 points. You're now up to 20. Let's take a look at our scoreboard real quick. Nick has 80, Cameron has 45, and Natalie has 20. And we've still got plenty of time left. This really is still anybody's game. Which pilot flew around the world on a single tank of gas? A, Chuck Yeager, B, Lawrence Welk, C, David St. George, or D, Jenna Yeager? Alrighty, let's start with Nick again. You said D, Jenna Yeager. That is the correct answer. Oh, look, there's a very colorful llama. A very colorful llama indeed. That llama is bringing you up to 90 points now with that correct answer, Jenna Yeager. Next, we're going to take a look at the response submitted from Natalie, who said D, Jenna Yeager as well. So she is now up to 25 points. And lastly, Cameron also said D, Jenna Yeager. He's now up to 45 points. So all three of our contestants
because Jenna Yeager, she's actually not a pilot. She wasn't even a navigator. She was a passenger and baggage. She's not a pilot.
Actually, she is a pilot. We fact checked that.
She wasn't at the time.
Is. I can't attest to that.
Dick retained.
All right, well, we're going to keep moving on here. In the Tom Wolfe book, The Right Stuff, which group of astronauts is glorified? A, the Houston Astros, B, the Flying Cowboys, C, Mercury 7, or D, the Black Sheep? FOD is Johnny on the spot with that trigger. He answered first, and he said C, Mercury 7. That is correct, and there's his 100-point jingle. He's the first person in the game tonight to reach a triple-digit score. Cameron, you said C, Mercury 7 as well. You're now up to 55 points. You're more than halfway to your own 100-point jingle. And Natalie, you said C, Mercury 7 too. All of our contestants, again, getting this one right, clearing the board. We're going to keep going here. Stick and Rudder is another classic book that every aviator should read. Who is its author? A, Wolfgang. I practiced this name before the show, and I've already forgotten it. Wolfgang, I think it was Longchevet or Longreich. I'm butchered that, and let's just laugh it off. B, Tom Wolfe. C, Rod Machado, or D, Jeff Jorgensen, as you all laugh at me in the comments. That earthquake I just felt, I'm pretty sure that was the director cringing. Nick, you said C. No, not C. Not Rod Machado. Natalie, you said A. Wolfgang, insert last name here, which is the correct answer. Do you know how to pronounce it?
I don't. Languisha? I don't know.
It was Longveche or something like that. I can't remember it. I'm sorry. And lastly, Cameron said C. It is not Rod Machado. Nope. Nope. Natalie got it right, and she did better answering it than I did, again, trying to read that name. I apologize, Wolfgang, for butchering your name. Winds are out of 70 degrees. I'm sorry?
I do know how to pronounce it. It's Langeweische.
Langeweische. Okay.
Langeweische.
I'm still going to forget that by the time we get through this next question, which is this. Winds are out of 70 degrees, and you're landing on runway 25. Compared to your airspeed, your ground speed will be what? A, unchanged, B, slower, C, 70 knots, or D, faster? Alrighty, we're going to start with Nick again, who said D, faster. You're correct, Nick, because you have a tailwind now. It's going to speed you up a bit. Cameron said B.
Oh.
No, it is not. And Natalie, we didn't get an answer from you on this one. What happened?
Oh, no, it didn't go in? Oh, darn it.
Oh.
I answered, yeah.
Sorry to hear that. Might have been just before the nick of time there. Let's keep going on to our next question, which is this. After flying 5 space shuttle missions, this aviator flew as an airline captain. Then he won the Reno Air Races. Who is he? A, Hoot Gibson, B, Hopalong Cassidy, C, Rowdy Yates, or D, Jesse James? Nick, you are on that trigger tonight, so we're going to start with you again. You said A, Hoot Gibson. You are right. You're now up to 120 points, a healthy lead so far in the game. Next, Cameron answered, and he said A, Hoot Gibson as well. He's now up to 60 points. And lastly, Natalie cleared the board for us again, saying Hoot Gibson, and she is now up to 40 points. Again, all of our contestants getting this one right. They seem to really know these answers. It's all down to just who presses that button the fastest. Which regulation allows a pilot to deviate from any rule when dealing with an emergency? A, 91.3, B, 61.30, C, 91.30, or D, 91.103? Alrighty. Which regulation allows a pilot to deviate from any rule when dealing with an emergency? Nick, you said C. Nope. We're dealing with a lot of different numbers here, but that wasn't the right one. Next, let's take a look at Cameron. Cameron, you said the same thing. Are you cheating off of Nick here? What's going on here? Are you cheating off of Nick?
Well, you wouldn't take
all
my
right,
check.
And Natalie. Well, Natalie, you said A, 91.3. That is the only correct answer we've received for this question. You're up to 45 points. Congratulations. See, this is why you don't cheat off of Nick on these types of questions. Who?
That's Reg's guy. He's gonna kill me.
Nick, you're in the lead, so I have to give you. I have to make sure you're still in your place. You don't get your big head. I gotta beat you down a little bit here. Well, who flew the P-80 chase plane when Chuck Yeager first broke the speed of sound? A, Steve Canyon, B, Bob Hoover, C, Wild Bill Kelso, or D, Jackie Cochran? Alrighty, let's start with Cameron this time. Cameron, you said B, Bob Hoover. You're right. And you're now up to 70 points, closing in on your 100-point jingle. Nick is beating his head on his background. I can see it already. He said C, and no. It was not Wild Bill Kelso. That was a John Belushi character from the movie 1941.
Of course it was.
John Belushi, no. Natalie, you said B, Bob Hoover as well. So you are correct again. You're up to 50 points now. Cameron's up to 70, and Nick may have gotten confused with John Belushi there, but he is still in a healthy lead at 120 points. Carbon monoxide poisoning can have deadly results in flight. Which of the following represents carbon monoxide? A, CO, B, CO2, C, CMO, or D, C1? All right, which of these represents carbon monoxide? Nick, you said A, CO. You're right. C for carbon, O for oxygen. That's just one O, so monoxide, mono for one. Cameron, you said A as well, CO. You are now up to 75 points. And lastly, Natalie, you said B. No, I'm sorry. No, it's CO, one C and one O.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we only have 5 questions left in this season of Prop Quiz, guys. Let's knock them out. The Douglas X-3 first flew in 1952, most notably by Pete Everest and Chuck Yeager. We're seeing his name a lot tonight. What was the aircraft called? A, Starship, B, Stiletto, C, Prong, or D, Dart? Alrighty, what was that aircraft called? Nick, you said D. No, sir. No, sir. You're losing your edge here just a little bit. Cameron, B is what you said, the Stiletto. And you are right. Man, am I glad I'm not having to stand here wearing those. And Natalie, you said B, Stiletto as well. When we were talking about this question earlier today, we made a joke that I could be on RuPaul here, standing here in stilettos on Prop Quiz, but that would not be fun. Alrighty, guys. Here's our next question, and we're running out of these. Time's ticking. Which weather report is most important to all pilots in a geographical area? A, the METAR, B, the AirMet, C, the SIGMET, or D, the PIREP? Which weather report is most important to all pilots in a geographical area? Cameron, you answered first. You said A. No, it is not the METAR. Nick, you said C, the SIGMET. That's the answer we were looking for. You're now up to 135 points, Senor. And Natalie, you said C, SIGMET as well, bringing you up to 60. Natalie, you're closing in on Cameron. You're catching up with Cameron here.
Watch out,
Keep asking me
Cameron.
test questions.
Alrighty. Which term best describes the Pratt & Whitney engines on this DC-3? A, turbine, B, inline opposed, C, radial, or D, rotary? Cameron answered first again, so we're going to reveal him. He said C, radial, and you're right, bringing you up to 90 points now. You're only one question away from hearing your own jingle, potentially. Nick, you said C, radial as well. You're now up to 140, 140. And Natalie, you said C, radial again. Home run here across all 3 of our contestants. Let's take a look at that scoreboard real quick. We've only got 2 questions left. Nick is definitely in the lead with 140. Cameron has 90 points and Natalie has 65. So at this point, Natalie and Cameron are basically battling for second place here for that $200 second place prize.
No
In
pressure.
what year did the right... No, there's lots of pressure. It's a competition. Pressure, all the pressure. In what year did the Wright brothers make their first powered flight? A, 1902, B, 1903, C, 1901, or D, 1904? I'd really like to know who just let these mosquitoes in here. Alrighty, we're going to start with Nick. You said D. No, it was not 1904. Cameron said B, 1903. That is the right answer. You're now up to 95 points. And Natalie said A, It wasn't A either, Natalie. We were looking for 1903. Wright brothers' first powered flight. It started all of this where we are today. All right, guys, this is our final question of the first season of PropQuiz tonight. This prize-winning biplane, owned by John Burnson, was built in 1939. What is it? A, a Beechcraft Staggerwing. B, a Boeing Stearman. C, a Bucher Jungmeister. Or D, a Waco Executive. All right, Nick, our final reveal tonight, and you're the first one. You said C. No, it is not. I'm not going to try and pronounce that name again. We're going to move on to Cameron, who answered next, and he said the Beechcraft Staggerwing. He's right, and there is his 100-point jingle right there down to the wire, the last question of the game, and you broke 100 points. And Natalie, you got it right too, saying the Staggerwing. 70 points. So guys, let's take a look at our final score. Nick, you won again, second week in a row, 140 points. So total cumulative between last week and this week, you've won $1,000 on PropQuiz. Congratulations. You're not going to Disneyland. What are you going to do?
That's a wonderful question. Honestly, it's probably going to go into flying next summer, or as soon as restrictions start getting lifted and things start being safe to go to. If that takes too long, frankly, it'll probably go into a very nice fountain pen because I have a problem.
Well, flying's the right answer there. All righty, and Cameron, second place. You've won tonight's $200 second place prize. How do you feel? You didn't quite match Nick's score, but you did beat Natalie.
Oh, he's so much faster.
Well, and, we know Natalie got so many of the answers. Natalie got so many of the answers that you buzzed in on tonight correct. You did a fantastic job in round two. It just came down to who punched that buzzer
I
quickest.
know. I need to work out my thumb a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't win anything, but thank you so much for coming on and for having fun with us.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, there is the end of PropQuiz Season 1. Congratulations again to Nick Tupper winning a grand total of $1,000, Cameron for winning tonight's $200. Don't miss our Thanksgiving special coming up November 17th. Thanks so much for joining us this season on PropQuiz. So long, everyone.